Welcome in everyone to the FloTrack podcast. I am Kevin Sully. He is Gordon Mack. Penn Relays preview show today. Gordon, how you feeling?
It's the mega preview show. It's not just a
Mm,
preview show. It's the mega super duper preview show.
we are going to be focusing on this pod primarily on the distance side of things because we have a fuller picture of the fields in those events. Now, remember, we're going to do another pod on Friday on site where we'll be able to give you insight into any of the fields we don't talk about today. So we're going to go through 4x8s, DMR, 4x15, 4x mile. We're also going to sprinkle in some of those individual events too, because as you mentioned before, there's some good 5,000s, 10,000 steeple. Obviously, people are looking forward to that women's Olympic development 600 featuring a Thing Mo and Ajay Wilson. And I want to talk about the high hurdles. I know we said mostly distance, but we are going to talk about the high hurdles. Um, as you're listening to this, Gordon and I are on a plane or already in Penn. And let me just tell you, it is lovely here. It is absolutely splendid.
I
Second
was
time in my
looking
life going, first time to the meet. It's beautiful out here. Love it.
I was looking at the weather for Philadelphia, and I think it's going to be 3 straight days of no rain, which is very rare
Yes.
for Penn Relays. Normally one of the days get a downpour of rain. It looks like we're gonna have 3 straight days of sunny. So be good weather for the Thursday evening and Friday evening of distance events. So that should
Hmm.
be good. Maybe get some great good times for a lot of these East Coast schools trying to throw down fast college marks.
Hmm. All right. So as I said, we got a lot to get to. We're going to focus on the distance side with this preview, with a couple exceptions, just because we have those fields, and we're going to go in somewhat of a chronological order. We can mix in individual and team as well too. So let's start first with these Championship of America races. Friday, 1:45 p.m. college women's distance medley featuring BYU. Gordon, they're going to be in action a lot over these couple days in Penn. They're going to try to rack up, they have option to get three wheels here. What do you think of this women's DMR field?
It's a great field. I mean, all of these distance fields are great. You got Ole Miss there in the mix, BYU, Virginia, Indiana, Georgetown, North Carolina, Villanova. Don't forget about Wisconsin in the mix, Penn State. They can throw down a good DMR. But overall, a lot of these teams qualified for NCAA's in the DMR at indoors. Ole Miss has a great miler. We were out at Oxford, Mississippi when we filmed the men's workout. We also filmed the women's workout, which will come out later in the year. So the women for Ole Miss are fit, similar to the men. And I think the Ole Miss women are going to be a challenge for BYU. BYU, though, has a little bit more star power with Courtney Wayment and company. Um, but it's going to be a good race. I think the interesting thing here for this one, which we'll kind of get to when we look at all three distance events, is the DMR is first, the 4x8
Hmm.
is second. No, it goes DMR Friday, and then
Hmm.
4x15 and 4x8 on Saturday. And likely some of the top stars are not going to run all three distance relays.
Yeah.
So there could be an opportunity where you may think you're going up against an A squad of BYU in one of the events, but you might get the B squad and you get the A squad in a different one. So
Hmm.
when it comes to kind of comparing who's going to win, Ole Miss, BYU, the North Carolinas of this world, like who has the best roster, it's going to be kind of hard. But I think in this situation, I kind of like. I mean, I said this on the podcast on my NCAA track and field show. I kind of like Virginia. I think they are a sneaky upset pick here because Virginia has the NCAA leader in the 1500 and Mia
Hmm.
Barrett, excuse me, who ran 4:11 in our home in a home meet this past weekend. So you got a 4:11 1500-meter runner. I kind of like your chances to win a DMR. So I like Virginia's chances to get an upset win here in DMR.
Did I share my Google Doc with you where I have
No,
Virginia circled and candidate for a breakout star? is none other than Mia Barnett. Well, I do, because I was looking at the same stuff you were. I was looking at the fact that at the Virginia Challenge, she ran the NCAA lead. You go back to indoors, she was on a squad that made that final. They have all those same women. They could use them here again at Penn. I really like this team from Virginia. However, let's not overcomplicate this. Let's not get confused. If BYU runs the A squad, this is BYU's to lose. You could go Courtney Wayment on anchor, NCAA 5,000 meter champion, indoors. And she's won a bunch of other titles too, but just as most recent season. Claire Seymour, runner up in the 800. You got her. You could use her. And then you have Lauren Ellsworth, who's run 201.7 this year. So those three, you work around the 12, 8, and mile legs. That's going to be tough to beat. The Seymour, Ellsworth, Weymouth trio is tough to figure out. But you're right. If they do shift people around, it could get interesting. It could get harder for BYU to win. But I think of the three races that they're entered in, this is the one that's the easiest path to a wheel for BYU. No easy wheels, but this is the easiest of the three because you go into the 4x15 and then you have Arkansas and then you have NC State and then you go into that 4x8 last race opens things up 800 stretching some people's limit in terms of the distance going that far down. So I think this is BYU's best shot. So it wouldn't surprise me if they put that A squad out there just to secure this victory.
Yeah, and it's the first one too, so you get it out of the
Yeah.
way, right?
Yeah.
The 4x8s and the 4x15s are both on Saturday. So, but I do like Virginia's chances. 411 is
Mhm.
no joke here. I mean,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of women out there in the NCAA who are running that fast. So if she's clearly fit, I can see Virginia finding a way to get the win and
Mhm.
giving Vinland Anna a title here at Penn Relays.
Mhm. And watch out if Vissa runs anchor for Ole Miss. He's been pretty good too. So watch out for Ole Miss. Let's go to the next race that day, which will be the college men's DMR, 2 p.m. on Friday. Wisconsin, Ole Miss, Indiana, Arkansas, North Carolina, Nova, Georgetown, Virginia. Ole Miss, I think, comes in as the favorite. They got the mile champ in Garcia Romo. They have Rivera, who is third indoors in the 800, one of the best half milers in the country. But just like we talked about with the women, matters. Personnel matters. You know, they're only running 2 relays this weekend on the distance side of things. So we don't know who's running what quite yet. How big of a favorite do you think Ole Miss is, and who do you think is the best candidate to upset them?
Well, they're the favorite because they got Mario. Assuming that they put the NCAA mile champion on the anchor, you, you're the favorite automatically. And they obviously have great stars in their first, second, third leg. But I do look at this field as a very deep. I mean, this is
Mm-hmm.
NCAA championship caliber all the way down through Virginia. It's good. I mean, Georgetown and Villanova, they got great milers. We know Georgetown, they got Jack Salisbury, who has experience here at the Penn Relays, kicking, not kicking down, but prevented
Almost
him
out
from
kicking.
being almost getting kicked down by Drew Hunter, which actually, low key, he might have actually won and no one wants to talk about. But that's for another story. Bring that up in the pod on Friday. But Arkansas, they got a Moan Kemboy on that anchor. Indiana's got some great milers. Wisconsin
Mm-hmm.
just threw down incredible 1500s at the Oregon Relays. So
Mm-hmm.
all these teams have legit, 355 potential on an anchor.
Yeah.
So they're going to be able to match Garcia Romo. Promise Garcia Romo can go to that next level, can go to the 352 range. And maybe
Mm-hmm.
one of these, I think Kemboy of Arkansas is the best shot. I mean, he's run 13 in the teens. So you got to think his 5K strength should be able to propel him to be able to put down a good mile. But Ole Miss is the favorites, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I do think it's going to be close. And I do think there's going to be at least 3 to 4 teams in it with, 2 laps to go.
And what do you think their strategy is? Ole Miss coming in as the favorite. Do you think they're content with it to go slow and just stay with the pack and let Mario Garcia Romo close, or do you think they're going to try to press things from the gun?
Nah, I think they're gonna. be content. I think it's all going to be about positioning. Like if you have Garcia Romo on your anchor, you don't need to give him a lead. You just need to get him
Mhm.
in the front pack. So I don't think, and a lot of these guys, they're going to be thinking, oh, we're coming back and we're doing the 4x8 the next day. We don't need to kill our legs. So it's going to
Mhm.
be all about setting up Garcia Romo to have the opportunity to just win a 1600, right? It's like, hey, get
Mhm.
me into a 1600-meter race where I'm in it, and then turn this into a very simple 4-lap race as opposed to a 12, 4, 8, 16 race.
Mhm. After that, we should mention too, got a lot of high school races as well. So check out if you want more in-depth coverage, go to Mile Split. All the high school coverage is over there. All the high school coverage you could ever want, basically. Got some 4x2s, some sprint medleys. By the way, an aside, I love the sprint medley. 2248 is awesome and it should be run more. That's just my opinion. Because the 800 is exciting. They're not gonna chill. It's not gonna be like a DMR. You're not gonna have a person have a 5 meter lead in an 800 and then just immediately give it up and then jog for a lap and a half. They're going to keep going, which makes the sprint medley fun. So that's like one of my favorite events to watch. I hope we have at least one awesome finish there. But let's go to that night section, Gordon. And we got some individual races, and then we have the 4 by mile attempt. So you have the some Olympic development 800s there. You have some steeples, which Mason Furlick just ran at the Oregon Relays. So credit to him. He ran fast too for coming out to Penn back to back weekends and running steeples. That's going to be a good steeple race there with Isaac Updike among others. Like that's a pretty solid field. Um, and then we have the 4 by mile and the 5 and the 10. Um, excuse me, we don't have the we have the 5 and the 10 on Thursday. We'll talk about that in a second. What's kind of your non 4 by mile highlight from that evening session? You have one?
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be the steeple. I mean, you talked about it. If we bring up the steeple start list, led by Updike and Furlick, Ed
Mhm.
Trippus. I'm so bad.
Trippus,
I'm
I
sorry about
believe.
saying your name wrong. From Princeton, he's good. He could be potentially flirting with an 820, maybe get close to a
Mhm.
collegiate record. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, Don Cabral came from that Princeton um, training. I mean, it was under a different coach, but uh, Princeton's had some great steeplers in their past. Uh, they could potentially put together a low key great steeple. We haven't had a lot of great steeples yet, and it's
Mhm.
coming up on May. Maybe now's the
Mhm.
time we start seeing the best steeplers out there start throwing down some great times. So I'm excited most for that men's steeple at 8:25 on Friday night.
And yeah, for like I mentioned, quick time 8:23 in Eugene to beat Anthony Rotich by a little over a second. So maybe he can go faster than that this week. All right, let's talk about this 4 by mile attempt featuring the On Athletics Club. Oliver Hoare, Tom Elmers. I'm looking at the updated list right now, Gordon, and Jordy Beamish is not on it. It's Ben Flanagan and then
Hmm.
Joe Klecker. So in our interview, Oliver did not mention that. You're gonna need to call him back, get him back on the line. I mean, I think that obviously is a big blow to them taking out Jordy Beamish.
Yeah. But what has Ben Flanagan run recently in the shorter events? I'm gonna look him up. On athletics. Season's best. So okay, he ran a 344 um at the Jesse Owens track meet.
Hmm.
But I think that was against Hobbs Kessler, and I think he beat Hobbs Kessler. Did he beat Hobbs Kessler in that race? No, he got. What did he do? Yeah, he won that race, and he was doing a double. So he ran that, and he also ran like a 156 800. So it's nothing too crazy. Oh, actually, he did a triple. So he did a 5K, a 15, and an 8, all in a 2-day span.
Maybe it was crazy.
So, so you can't really put too much into the time. His lifetime burst best is from 2018, where he ran a 357. Now that was, a long time ago, but as recently as 2021, last year, he ran a 7:54 3K and a 13:20 5K. So
Hmm.
you have to think he can throw down at least a 3:59, right? Which is all you need. You really need just your third and fourth stars to run 358s and 359s just to give Joe Klecker and Oliver Hoare a chance. So, I mean, obviously you would want Jordy Beamish in there because Jordy Beamish is definitely more of a 1,500-meter star than Ben Flanagan. But hey, you never know. I mean, clearly they brought Ben Flanagan off the bench. They saw him run his 344 1500 and said, sign on up, man. We need you. We need you to go for a world best. And we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, the challenge here, you got to average those 357s. And if you put a 4 out there, you need to counter that with a 52, 53. And to ask two people to do that is going to be tough. You saw Cooper Tier do that. But to ask if you have two guys who are right at 4 minutes, then the challenge becomes pretty great. I also think a key person in this race is are the athletes from the other teams. Like how Colby Alexander, for example, running for the Empire Elite Track Club. Like, can they? I don't know what leg they're running. I don't know how they're matching this up. But basically, can they give some? Can they push the on team right to a quicker split? Um, but things obviously change. Hoare was very uh, with Oliver Hoare in the race. He was very confident when you said, "If it's 12 on the clock, do you think you can do it?" And he said, "Yeah." If he's able to do that, then that changes it because then it's all right. We just got to get 4 minute average here, and I think 4 minute for everybody is certainly doable. But I would have felt a lot better about this if Beamish was on the roster, even though Beamish probably would have forgot that it's a record attempt and just done enough to win, and he would have split like 409, and they'd be like, "No, no, no, not that, Jordy. We needed you to run as fast as you could. Don't just win." Killer kick though.
Yeah, and Tom Elmer, who's also kind of a newer name, he's from Switzerland. He's 25. He ran 3:38 in the 15 last year. So
Hmm.
um, you have to think he can, put himself in it to run a 3:57, 3:58. If we
Hmm.
can get non Joe Klecker and non Oliver Hoare to like be 4 seconds under 8 minutes,
Yeah.
that would be amazing. Like 2 to 4 seconds. Four at the best, two at the worst. That's what you need.
With this, yeah, but with this lineup, I'm just saying it's going to take a Herculean effort from Klecker and Hoare in particular, to get the world record. So if it happens, it's going to take an all-time performance
Yeah.
from Oliver Hoare. Put a statue of him at the on headquarters if he's able to pull this off. Because I don't know if it was injuries. I know it was the situation with Morgan, but like this isn't the ideal group. Obviously, we know that because we had him on the podcast yesterday and he wasn't mentioning this lineup. And if they're still able to do it, it's because he went crazy in this race. Or as he said yesterday, he just saw a lot of organos out on the track and got incredibly motivated to run fast. Because I think that's what it's going to take to pull this group to that fast of a time.
Yeah. You say they need to put a statue for him in the Swiss headquarters. They just need to change it from On Athletics to Oliver Hoare Athletics. So
All of
instead
our
of ON
athletics.
AC
Yeah.
or ON, you just make it OH. That's a
OHC.
bad joke. Don't let's strike that from the record. Strike
I don't
that.
think it was a joke so much as an observation. I thought it was good. Colt, you're the humor judge. How was that? 1 to 10.
Oh
You thought it was
man.
funny?
Colt's really good at this fake laughs.
That was an amazing fake. No, seriously, Colt. I want to know how was it?
It actually
Yeah, I mean,
it wasn't that bad. It was fine. It was fine.
Yeah.
Don't feel bad about that, Gord. You're good. It's a
okay.
podcast. That's what podcasts are for, is bad jokes over an hour.
That's true. That's true.
And I was serious
That
about
is
the
true.
statue thing. That wasn't a joke. They need to plan construction of that if he's able to help them pull this off. All right, let's go to. Should we go to Saturday now?
What about Thursday night? Let's go back to Thursday.
All right, let's go back to Thursday because we're on the topic of individual distance events. I'm mostly looking here, Gordon, at the women's 10 and the men's 5. Is that where your eyes go towards?
You know, my eyes go where your eyes are. So you just tell
That
me
was
where
kind
to
of
go,
weird.
and I will follow you into the void.
Well then, let's start with the men's 5,000. Yassine Abdullah, who is the anchor leg for Texas, I guess you would we say he's headlining this race? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, he's gone from walk on to headline, like just like that.
I
He was
love it.
one great kick in a DMR indoors, and now all of a sudden he's headlining a Penn Relays 5K. Who would
Yeah.
have thought?
Uh yeah, and listen, I think he can win this race, obviously. There's some other guys in this field who are capable, but Abdullah's an exciting runner who's improved a bunch. So I'm interested to see how he does on this stage. The women's 10 features Grace Forbes from Rice, who I know you talked a lot about during cross as someone to watch who put together a really good cross season.
Yeah, she's always been under the radar. You know, she's been consistent. You know, under the radar. Maybe this is a moment to have not only a win, but potentially, a top mark out there that you start thinking, can Grace Forbes win the 10K? Because right now, the
Hmm.
women's 10K, no one has taken it by its horns. I
Hmm.
said in my track and field show podcast, I was like, I think Caitlin Tui could win the 10K if she tried, if she wanted to. But like, I don't think she will, right? She's probably not. I think I ranked her number one in the country in my NCAA rankings. I think I have
Hmm.
Caitlin Tui as the best 10K runner. But like, no one, there's not a woman out there who's really kind of owned it right now. I mean, it would have been Mercy Chilenga, but I feel like just Chilenga's off kind of her high from a few years ago. So it's kind of like if someone can go out there and run a legit time,
Yeah.
you could have like a breakout star in this event.
Well, right now it's Lauren Gregory at the top of the list. I want to say, is that correct?
I
She
don't
ran at
know.
Stanford. Yeah, it's Gregory 32:34, and then Mazzadowney. But Gregory is the type of person where you're just like, okay, you're taking a big talent from another, and it's kind of similar to Tui, right? Like big talent from another event, and then putting her in the 10,000. So I think that's a smart call um, for them at Arkansas. I'm looking. I don't even know. Has she ever even was that her 10,000 debut? Basically,
Probably.
I think a lot of people are seeing this. Yeah, it looks like that was her 10,000 debut. I think a lot of people are seeing what you're seeing, which is that event is open, and let's shift some people around to try to see what we can get out of it. But with Forbes, you have someone who's already been in the event before, has a lot of experience, has had a lot of success, and we'll see what she can do at Penn in this field. I mean, she should win this given the composition of the field on Friday night or on Thursday night, excuse me. Um, anything else on that Thursday night section to jump out to you?
Um, no, I mean, the hurdles are actually kind of good. The men's 400 hurdles.
Hmm.
William Spencer of South Carolina and Quavell Jordan of Houston. They both run 49 seconds in the hurdles. So low key, that could be pretty good. Seeing two 49-second 400-meter hurdle guys go at it. Um, so
Women's
a
as
lot of
well
the
too.
yeah, the women who's on the women's.
Women have Rachel Glenn of South Carolina and Jessica Wright of Howard. So Glenn and Howard. So Glenn is ninth in the country right now, and um, Wright is eighth. So they're right next to each other on the descending order list. They've both run mid 56s. So two top 10 national hurdlers in the women's field.
Yeah, and then the women's 5K, Nicole Fegans, Joyce Camelli, Dominic Claremont, and Maria Howlett of NC State, Sydney Thorvals, Thorvaldson, so your name of Arkansas. So pretty good women's 5K overall. I mean, obviously, a lot of these college individual events on Thursday night, it's really just setting up for, some of them maybe coming back and doing relays, but a lot of it's kind of one-offs from these big relay schools to kind of get a time qualifier for NCAAs. But all these schools, the Villanovas, the Wisconsins, the Texases, all these schools, NC States, they're all focused on putting together their best four for a 4x8 title or a DMR title or a 4x mile 1500-meter title.
Mm-hmm. Should we go to Saturday?
Let's go to Saturday.
All right.
Time travel.
Sure.
As
Well,
Penn
there's
Relays
even better.
as Penn Relays calls it, it's Toyota Day.
Toyota.
Saturday is officially Toyota Day at the Penn Relays.
So on Saturday, 12:30 p.m., women's 4x1500 college championship of America.
Best
Circle
race
this
of
one.
the night. Best race of the day. Of the meet.
Some even might call it the day because it's at 12:30.
Yes. Best race of the day. Sorry.
So you have BYU potentially coming back from already winning the DMR. You have NC State. You have Arkansas. So you have the last three cross country champions. You have the last two DMR champions in that group as well. And I think Arkansas, this is the only distance relay they're running. Same thing with NC State. We don't have the rosters yet, but I assume they're going to put everybody they have into this one relay. Additionally, you have Villanova, Ole Miss, Georgetown, Wisconsin, Indiana, North Carolina also in the mix. 4x15. This could be exciting. This will be exciting. I'm not even gonna say could be. This will be exciting, Gordon.
And it's deep. Do you
Yeah.
think that this race with Arkansas, BYU, Ole Miss, NC State, Nova, thrown to Georgetown as well, but mainly those top five, Arkansas, BYU,
Mhm.
Ole Miss, NC State, Nova, could this result in a potential national record or
So
Penn
I was
Relays
thinking the
record?
exact same thing. It's the
Tennessee,
same thing, national record
1708.
and yeah, but then you look at the splits. 419, 419, 419, 6, 410. And that's a solid team. Chanel Price, Phoebe Wright, Rolanda Bell, and Sarah Bowman. So a lot of star power there in that squad. I guess it all just depends on who runs, but you got to have, if you're looking at this blueprint, you got to, have four women under 4 minutes and 20 seconds in the 1500. You look at the yearly list, not to say they can't do it for the first time at Penn, but that's going to be tough, isn't it?
I don't know. Is it? I
So,
think it's
well, let me look at NC. Let me look at NC State. I'll just pull up NC
NC
State, for
State.
example.
These are NC State's top four runners: 412, 415, 417, 417.
All right. Well, I take back what I said then. I think it's possible.
Right? That's NC State. Let's look at Arkansas's top four runners. Give me a second. They are 414, 416, 418, 422, but that is without Lauren Gregory running.
Yeah.
So Lauren Gregory clearly can. So they have basically similar four teens, 414, 416, 418.
Okay.
I
What
think
about
it's
BYU?
possible. BYU. I should have came more prepared with these lists.
No, this is good. This is Colt can edit all this. This is what he
Edited
lives
in
for.
post.
Yeah.
So BYU, 412, 413, 415, 416. Like
Does that include
all
Wayman?
of that's with Waymit running 412. Yeah.
Okay, but here's the thing: you also need, if we're just going to compare this to the Tennessee team from '09, it was 3 419s and then a 410. So you can get to it a bunch of different ways. I don't know if anybody's going to close in 410, but maybe you don't need to because all
No.
the splits that you're laying out would be, 415, 416. Get it that way as opposed to a bunch of 19s and then have just one superstar take the baton. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. All those teams are incredibly deep across the board. When I just at first glance didn't think it was a possibility, but it could go down. And I guess it just depends on how much racing they're doing. Are they really going to get after it? Or is each leg going to turn into a tactical 1500? Because if that's the case, they don't really have a shot. But if they get after it from the gun and everybody has a solid lineup in, this could be good.
Yeah, I mean the key is those first three legs. If they all instead of they all going out and running 423s, they all go out and
Yeah.
they run 417s,
Hmm.
and if they all are pushing each other, you're just setting yourself up for potential to have a 1708 and have a Courtney Wayment versus Caitlin Tui versus Lauren Gregory anchor
Mm,
leg
that'd be
where
awesome.
they all run like 410. Why not? It'd be crazy.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think when it comes to the college distance side of things, this is the race of the meet. Men's, women's. This is the race of the meet. Um, the men's 4 by mile, which is after that, at well, there's a little bit of a there's some sprints in between, some 4 by 1s in between. 1:10 p.m. College men's 4 by mile championship of America, Wisconsin, Texas, Georgetown, Nova, North Carolina, Virginia. So Ole Miss is not in this one. They're going to go DMR and 4 by 8. So that does leave some opportunity here. I'm inclined to think it's going to be those first two teams I mentioned between Wisconsin, based on just how they've done the past couple weeks, and I think Texas is going to be in the mix. We saw their depth indoors. Now, do they have enough milers to pull it together? We'll see. But with Abdullah, with Carroza, Gomez, etc., they're going to be very, very tough to beat.
Yeah, I thought Texas would have went all in on like a 4 by 8, with Jonathan Jones,
Hmm.
Ismania,
Hmm.
like Creighton Carrozza's a great 800-meter guy. Like they had a way to put together a really good 4 by 8, but I feel like this is a good challenge for their distance guys. It's like, hey, let's see if we can go all in on the 4 by mile, go up against the best of the East Coast, go up against a good Wisconsin team, and just
Right.
let's go all in on one event. Let's fly across the country. Are they flying with us? Are we in the same flight as University of Texas? Because they live next door.
We'll find out. By the time people listen to it, we've already found out. I'm looking at their roster is pretty solid here. Because you mentioned Bismana too. Why not? Right?
Yeah,
Why not have him in there? They got a
I'm
lot of
sure he is.
options.
Yeah, what are their top indoor mile times? So I'm gonna bring that up.
Indoor mile times?
So they
Okay.
ran
So
Cruz Gomez 357, Yassine Abdallah 357, Creighton Carrozza 357, Busy Mana Yusuf 359. They have Brendan Herbert who's on 359. So they have five guys, all sub 4 milers. You know, they have an opportunity. They're gonna put themselves in there, and then I think if Abdallah can anchor an incredible DMR, I can sure see
yeah.
he can anchor an incredible 4 by mile here. So should be interesting.
Well, you got him in the they aren't. It is surprising they're not running the DMR.
Well, they probably are thinking since Abdallah is running the Thursday night 5K or
Gotcha.
10K. What's he running? 10K or 5K? 5K.
5.
They probably want to give him an extra day of rest before he comes back and runs the 4 by mile.
Yeah. I'm just thinking they have so many people to use. They could have legit come up with almost two teams, or at least a team and a half, where you could minimize doubles because that's how deep they are. Let's keep moving. So we're on Saturday, just to recap here, Toyota Day, and let's see, where were we? Here we are. Okay. College men's. Oh, then we get into some individual events. Do you want to talk about the individual events now, or do you want to do the four? Let's do the 4x8s first, and then
Yeah,
we'll
it's
come
the
back to
four
those
bets.
individual events. All right. So uh, BYU has that chance for 3 for the women if they pull off that 4x15. Um, this is at 2:47 p.m. on Saturday. Indiana, BYU, Penn State, Nova, Ohio State, Virginia. So by this point, they'll be well acquainted with each other. And then on the men's side, I would just say that Ole Miss has got to be a pretty solid favorite, um, ahead of Georgetown, Penn State, Indiana, Nova, etc. How do you see the 4x8s going?
Yeah, I agree. I think BYU is the best 800 meters squad, especially if they throw Wayman in there. I'm sure she can run a fast 800. They had the NCAA runner up in the 8 and Seymour. They have a bunch
Mhm.
of women who can run good 2:03s or betters. And then in the men's 4x8, um, I think it's Ole Miss is the favorite, but I do think that Georgetown and Indiana can challenge. I think a lot of these teams can find 148 guys off the street. I think 148 guys grow on trees at the Penn Relays. And so I think a bunch of these teams will have 148 guys to keep them in it. And the big difference maker will be if you throw out a 146 leg
Mhm.
to kind of get that separation.
Yeah, or Rivera's case, 145 is
Yeah.
possible as well. Uh, and Baylor Franklin for Ole Miss has run 147 this year. You don't really have any questions about Ole Miss. You know exactly what they're going to bring to the table because they've already done it this year. So that's why I'm leaning towards Ole Miss in this race. All right, individual events. So you got that window there from, let's see, what time does that window start? Do you know what time that window starts? Actually, it's already in that window. Olympic Development Women's 1500 Elite. I'll just run through these. Lipsy's in there, Anna Camp Bennett, Whitney Orton, Danae Rivers. Then you have the men's mile, Jonah Koech, and you know who's running this race, Gordon?
My boy, Festus Legat.
Your favorite runner in NCAA history, Festus Legat. Uh, Hopefully you get a chance to interview him. I know you were really focused on interviewing Allison Felix to figure out when her last race is, but I think you should take some time, make sure you chat with your favorite runner, Festus Legat, and explain to him why he's the key to Iowa State's team title this year. If he just scores in 3 events, he can do it. He can do it. Don't count him out. Okay. Women's 300 Elite entries aren't out yet as of this recording, but Allison Felix is going to be in there. Um, we believe men's 300, Will London, Marquess Washington, Miles Pringle, Devin Quinn, Tevin Richardson, Sheen McDonald. But women's 600 Elite is really the marquee event from this window because Gordon, this turned out to be a solid field because when one name gets announced, you always wonder, well, who else is going to be competing against them? And then 2 names are announced, and you're like, all right, well, then who else is going to be around them? And with this women's 600 field, it just kept getting better and better and better because you have a Thing Mo, Aji Wilson, Natoya Gould. So it's 3 of basically the top 5 800-meter women in the world right now. You have Olivia Baker, who just made world indoor team, Nia Akins, who's been a perennial U.S. finalist, uh, Sadie Henderson, Jasmine Frey, and the high schooler, Sophia Gararian. So just storylines all over the place, no matter where you look here. I think Mo has a good shot at the fastest time in world history, aka the world record, even though the 600 is not considered a world record of 1:21.77. I want to see Ajay Wilson and how well she competes against Mo. I love this race. I love everything about this race, Gordon.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the world record, but you also can talk about a level below that, the American record. I mean, Ajay
Mhm.
Wilson owns the American record. And the thing,
Yep.
Mo might break her record in a race against her, which is pretty cool. Uh, and Gould is notorious for going out hard in races.
Hmm.
This is gonna be this
This
is
is a
gonna be
good one to go
fast.
hard in.
This is gonna
Yeah.
be good. Like Gould's no joke. Wilson has shown that she's back into her normal form after her world indoor performance. And then Mo, who just ran a 202 at Baylor, but it was very windy, and I'm sure she went out slow and just kicked for the win and won by like 3
Mhm.
seconds. We know she has the speed in her legs with her 4x4 splits lately. So I think it's going to be great. And I think she's going to break the American record. I'm not sure about world record yet, but American record for sure.
Mhm. Guess how many
I mean,
times Mo
from New
and Wilson have?
Jersey. So it's going to be great. A lot of hometown love will be there. It's going to be good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Guess how many times they've raced against each other? Like been in the
I don't
same
know.
race?
How many?
4. That's all.
Well, I think Mo's pretty young, right? She was in high
Yeah,
school not that long ago. So
yeah. But I just want to see it more. I think we need to strike while the iron is hot here. Yeah, I guess it's 2-2 when they've actually raced against each other. Tiebreaker. I think this
here
is
we
the first
go.
600 they've run each other.
This is the tiebreaker of all tiebreakers. This will decide the legacy of both women. Whoever wins the Penn
I th-
Relays Olympic
I
development
think
women's 600. I like how they call it the Olympic development. I don't think a thing Mo's into development of
yeah,
Olympics anymore. She's
she's
already
developed.
developed.
What's the level past Olympics? Because that's what a thing Mo needs to develop for. Some sort of
Olympic
galactic
achieved.
games where it's she's
Galactic development.
competing
I'm in
against
the
people from other planets. I mean, she's the world. She's conquered the world here. So is
I
there
like
some sort of?
Galactic Development 800.
Yeah,
All right, coming up
yeah,
next, the Galactic Development 800.
put her in that race. I think
You
would
have like
fit. I
aliens
think she's
running.
gonna get.
You have like
I think
Martians and
she's gonna get.
robots running around the track.
She has better 400 speed than Semenya, and we haven't even seen the last of Mo's 400 speed. I don't think she's only a tick behind her in the 8. I think the record's gone. I know I've been very bullish on records recently, but I think we forget um, how good she is at the quarter and how much better she would be if she raced it even more. Right? Like, what's the alternate reality where she runs it at trials and then the Olympics? I'm not going to say, oh, she would have beat Shauna Miller Weibo, but her PB certainly would have been better. She could have run faster if she's chasing a woman who's running 48 seconds. Don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think she can break it, but it's just hard to like understand the mentality that an athlete's in. Like, if she were to come out and say, "Hey, I'm going to break this record," I would say she's breaking it.
Yeah.
But because she hasn't said that yet, I kind of don't want to like assume greatness.
Here's why I'm assuming greatness, because it's the thing, Mo. And everything she did last year was great, and she went faster than. If there was a prediction contest for every single one of a thing Mo's races with an over under, like and someone had the ability to time travel and like set the over under at 1/100th of a second slower than she ran, I would have picked over every time. Like, I did not think she was going to run that fast at trials. I didn't think she was going to run that fast at the Olympics. I didn't think she was going to run that fast at pre. I didn't think she was going to run a 400 that fast at NCAA's. I didn't think she was going to go that fast indoors. I thought she was going to be great, but she went to a whole level beyond what I thought she was capable of. New year, different setup. I understand different approach, but I still think she's just got another at least half a level to go up. And I think having this amount of competition is going to be really good for her. And this is just the perfect distance for a thing, Mo.
It
This is
is.
it. This is the distance that you would want to put her in, and you'd be like, man, I wonder how fast she could run a 600 in. Now, it's not as if she's out of place in the 8 or the 4. No, she's great at both of those. It's not like, oh, she's a tweener and oh man, that sucks. Too bad there's not a 600 event. She'd be great at that. No, it would just add another event where she would smash everybody in. So, yeah, I think she's going to get it. I'm curious behind her how those places look. That'll be fun, but I think she's gonna reset the record, and it's gonna be fun to watch.
All right,
What's
so we
next?
preview. I know how we said the four by 15 is the event of the meet, but I do think we do actually have the real event of the meet.
Well,
You want
before
to
you do
preview?
that one, I
Okay.
think I know where you're going with that one. Before we do that one though, the high hurdles are pretty good.
Yeah, high hurdles are good. Sydney's running in the 110, not the 110, the 100 hurdles. See
Hmm.
her back in action. Um, it's kind of been, it's been a quiet front in the 400 hurdles on both the men's and the women's side, right? We had
Hmm.
overload of dopamine
Hmm.
with Sydney, Delila, and Rye Benjamin and Carson Warholm just like throwing it down. I mean, I guess
Hmm.
maybe this dopamine will come back in May and June and July, but it's
Yeah.
kind of been like the quietest, event after being the loudest event for the past 2 years or past 5 years, 4 years. So it's good to see Sydney now back on the track. She scratched out of that weird DMR record attempt during
Hmm.
Boston
Hmm.
Marathon weekend at the New Balance indoor track. So
Hmm.
seeing her come out here to do a hurdle, a 100 hurdle, will be good. And she's good in the 100 hurdles. She's improved her 100-meter hurdle time to
Yeah.
like she could make a U.S. final in 100-meter hurdles if she wanted to. Um, so
12:65 is her personal best, and this is literally the first time she'll have raced since Tokyo. Didn't do anything indoors. Didn't do anything post Olympics. This will be the first time she races post Tokyo in the women's 100-meter hurdles Olympic development section on Saturday. And she ran a bunch of these races last year in the lead up. Remember, we were wondering, man, she's running more high hurdles than low hurdles. What is that going to mean? Oh, it's going to mean she's smashed the world record and get the gold medal. That's what it ended up meaning. We figured that out pretty quickly. Men's side of things, this field's real deep. Headlined by Devin Allen, 13.12. He just set the world lead in Annapolis. But let's look at this field. This is Saturday, 2:17 p.m. You have Omar McLeod in there as well. So a good battle between those two guys who at their best are both medal contenders.
yeah, and also it's going to be a McLeod versus Allen show, but Jalen and
McConico.
Nicholas McConico and Nicholas Anderson, they're both legit. They could run in the 13.4s at least, maybe even the thirteen
Mhm.
threes to kind of push Allen and McLeod to battle each other in the 13.2s, 13.1s potentially. And I'm excited for Devin Allen. I mean, the fans are going to go wild for him when they announce him as Philadelphia Eagle Devin Allen. It's pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
Uh, it's going to be, and it's NFL draft weekend, so people are going to have football on their mind in the city of Philadelphia. They're going to need to have
Hmm.
football on their mind after what's been going on the hardwood with their basketball team. But that's for another day. Oh, speaking of that, I'm going to be a mess on Thursday night during the distance races. I'm going to watch a
I know.
basketball
I'm
game on
just
the
not.
side.
I was so conflicted last night. I'm watching this game, and I don't want the Sixers to win. Obviously, you know my position on that. But I want you to be able to chill this weekend, and I don't know if I can
Yeah.
handle you or you can handle all this stuff going on when we're literally in the city. We'll literally be in the same city, so
Yeah.
you're gonna see stuff too that's gonna trigger you. So I don't know how this all nets out for me emotionally. I don't even know what I want anymore because this could be an all-time like there may not be a podcast next week. I don't know if people realize this. There's like it may not happen. I may never see Gordon again
The
after
end of the
Franklin Field
show.
on Saturday night.
The show's
Well,
over.
Colt,
This
I don't
could be
know
the
what we'll
season
do.
finale. Yeah.
Yeah, this actually, well, Friday.
Well, Friday will be
Friday we'll know more,
no. Friday could be bad.
right? Because well, I know, but we'll know more at least on Friday whether or not we need to
Yeah.
prepare, get our belongings packed up. If I need to put the microphone in bubble wrap or you put it on eBay, what I need to do because I'm I'm just concerned. I just
For those who are
I'd
new to the
ask, are you going to be
podcast,
okay?
we're
I'd
talking about
ask,
the
are you going to be okay? But I know exactly you're not going to be okay. So if you tell me you're going to be okay, you're just going to lie to me. So
yeah.
I'll just I'll just say fingers crossed.
It's so crazy. You can be one win away from something and have three opportunities, and you feel like you've already lost. It's just crazy how that happens. Uh, yeah. For those who are new to the podcast, I'm a big Sixers fan, a little too big of a Sixers fan, and They're not doing too well in the playoffs, and it's kind of getting embarrassing, and it's taking over my brain. Anyway, let's not talk about that. This is a track and field podcast. Let's end this track
Yep.
and field podcast with a preview of, like I said, the most important race.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know where I'm going? I don't think you do.
Oh
You?
yeah. Oh yeah. I've known you long enough. I know where you're going.
You know the corporate DMR?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say the Masters.
No, I'm going corporate
Oh, it's
DMR.
a corporate DMR.
That's right. The corporate DMR. All right, so that's on Friday night.
All right. What's
Uh,
before we click on this though? What's our future sponsorship situation? Are you? Am I gonna say anything that's gonna ruin sponsorship? All right.
no, you're fine. You're fine.
Or just have should we
So,
have Colt do this? Because we can blame it on
so
Colt.
Yeah,
for those who don't
just
know,
blame it on me.
for those who don't know,
This Friday?
local corporations, some national, I guess, but corporations that are based in the Philadelphia area, they run a DMR with their employees at the Penn Relays, and On Athletics team actually has their corporate people running. I know Steve DeCoker. He's a big one of the main marketing type guys at On. So I'm excited to see him run whatever event he does. But you look at this, you got Toyota, General Electric, Whoop, Merck, Vanguard,
Hmm.
Susquehanna Group. Who else do we have?
Hmm.
Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, Ewing Cole,
Yeah.
Airmark, low key. Interested to see what they do. Their probably pre-race meal is going to be on point because they work for a food vendoring
Hmm.
company.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I was trying. I kind of like the team I like most here is Merck, which is HIP E. They have two teams, Merck A, because one of their athletes, Elizabeth Chicatis, hopefully I said your last name right. She's a former Penn State athlete, so she has experience with the Penn Relays. She
Hmm.
graduated, I think, in 2019, so she's only 2 years or 3 years removed from her college fitness. I'm going with
Hmm.
Merck for the win. You know, that's what
Okay.
I'm doing.
First of all, bold move by On to move Beamish off of the main 4x1 so he could run the corporate DMR. I like that strategy. It makes more sense. The pressure is on. Let's be
Yes,
clear here. The
because they're a
pressure
running company.
is on because they are running company. Now, Hip D, Whoop, they're gonna have the most data. So
True.
they're gonna be running. You're gonna see them checking their bands. They're gonna be making mid-race adjustments. Will that help or will that be too much info? I don't know. I'm not sure. Vanguard. Vanguard. They're just going to be steady, right?
Yes.
Index funds. They're not going to go too high. They're not going to go too low. I mean, if there was Bitcoin if there was a Bitcoin company and it'd be all over the place, we wouldn't know how to do it. But Vanguard is going to be steady as she goes. We can assume. GE is a huge company, so they have to have a lot of people to choose from. And in fact, I have on good authority you almost had to try out for the GE team. You had to do like a time trial. I don't know the
Really?
whole process to prove
Whoa.
fitness. Yes. So
They take this
that
seriously.
makes me lean that makes me lean a little bit towards GE. But you mentioned Merck having two teams and Toyota having Toyota has three teams now that I look at it. National Fitness Partners. See, that's an intriguing name. National Fitness Partners. But I don't know what type of fitness. Mid distance,
Yeah.
shorter distance, weightlifting. What do they have? They're
Also,
located in Camp Hill, Pennsylvania.
Children's Hospital of
Yeah.
Philadelphia. They
Okay.
work long hours. Are they going to be tired?
But
You don't know.
lot of a lot of in shape doctors though,
True.
and nurses and
They're on their
hospital
feet a lot. They're on their feet.
personnel. Yeah. Ewing Cole. What is Ewing Cole?
Sounds like a rapper name.
Ewing
I don't know.
Cole, construction engineering. You should know that.
Okay.
Um,
I should know.
located in Philadelphia.
All right.
This
So
I, I'm I'm
what's your podium?
legitimately excited. What's my
What's your
podium?
podium? Yeah. Top 3.
My podium is going to be. I'm going to go GE1, Mark 2, Whoop 3.
Ooh, wow. On, not even making the podium. I'm going with, there's a lot of pressure on. They're going to need to perform. I think On's going to win. I think uh, Toyota gets second, and I think GE gets third.
Colt, what's your analysis of this?
Whoa. Okay, guys. So Toyota's sponsoring the event. Let's keep that in mind. Right? I think
Yeah, so they have
Toyota A is
financial
going to be
incentive.
trying a very, very hard to get the top of the podium here. Um,
Toyota A.
uh, I don't know. Probably Toyota A. That's my guess. And then I'll go Whoop 2, Vanguard A, bronze.
Have you
Vanguard.
heard of
Ooh.
have you heard of all these, Colt? Have you heard of all these companies?
Not really. Like Vanguard and Whoop, yes. Toyota, yes, but past that, no.
Grow Intelligence. That sounds interesting. Software company in New York, according to Google. Oh, AI. All right, so that could change some things. We have an AI company in there, Gordon.
Maybe getting analytics up in this DMR.
Yeah, yeah, or maybe they should artificially created a runner. What I want to know is who signed an employee to a 10-day contract so they could win the Penn Relays corporate challenge. That's what I want to know. I want to do some investigating on that.
Yeah, and I was trying to look up what USLI stands for. I didn't know if that was like United States like lacrosse intelligence. I don't know. I was trying to come up with like a sport. I thought it was like a sport
Yes.
franchise, like US Soccer League,
Yeah.
international. So it's a bunch of great soccer players, but it's not. It's just liability insurance. So they're
Okay.
not going to win. They're
They're not
just
going
there
to take
for
any
the.
risks.
They're not
No
going to take any
risks.
risks. Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, I mean it's gonna be fun. I'm excited to see how On does. I know they have the pressure because
mhm.
you know they're literally they're like we are the opening act for the On team running the 4 by mile that night for the world
Yeah.
record,
Yeah.
and so they got to put out good vibes. And if they go out there and put up an Easter egg, or just fail and
Yeah.
DNF, it's not going to look good. Like you do know that Oliver Horn, Joe Klecker are going to be watching intensely for how they perform to kind of keen off of it. They probably might even warm up with them.
So it looks like based on the roster, every team has 3 men for the most part and 1 woman. Is that the requirement? I mean, some
Yeah,
have
I'm sure it's at least
2.
one. I'm sure you can do 3 women and 1 man. I think it's just at least one woman needs to be
1.
on your team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And Elizabeth Chakotay, what she ran distance?
Yeah, she ran distance at Penn State. Let me see. It's pretty good PB.
Because
She ran a 4:45 mile, 16:04 5K, 9:17 3K.
I
Around the
hope
mile.
all the I hope all these teams put some time and some money into awesome jerseys. That's what I want to see. Because I want to see the possibility where professional track and field actually has awesome jerseys and maybe the corporate challenge can pave the way. I'm talking loud colors. I'm talking about distinctive designs. I don't want to see you turn your Diamond League, you see 12 guys in blue jerseys, all with Nike swooshes on them. Like I want to see some creativity here. I don't want to see just, hey, we went to Dick's Sporting Goods. Is there Dick's Sporting Goods in PA?
Yes, I want to know.
Okay.
There's Modell's is the main sporting good place, but
Okay.
do you think there's going to be any fan in the stadium who's like looking forward to watch On try to break the 4 by mile record, get confused, and watch this On team in a DMR and be like, oh, I guess they're trying to break a DMR world record. Okay, cool, whatever, change of plans, and then be like, wait a
Yeah.
minute,
They leave
these are
early.
professional athletes, and be really like, this On team is like the best of the best. What are we doing
Yeah.
here? And then
I
realize,
also,
oh, okay, sorry.
Hood to Coast, that relay out here on the West Coast. They do you need a bunch of people for that. So there's people who aren't on the team who show up the morning of, hoping to get picked up by a team. I wonder if we're going to see people outside Franklin Field holding up like 450 PB, will sign contract. A little easier to get 4 people together than it is to run a relay across a couple days. So Is this all one heat? This is a lot of
Yeah,
teams.
it's fine.
No,
It'll
I
be
like it.
fine.
I like it. This is a. Am I commentating this one? Who's commentating this one?
You can if you want.
Friday 7th. I guess yeah. I guess you're in charge of this. Like all I need to do is ask you. Oh yeah, I am. Oh man, I need to save. Hey Colt, send me some one-liners that I can use for this because I'm gonna have to talk about this for like 15 minutes.
Sounds good.
Give me your best insurance jokes.
Oh, I'm gonna have to do some research, I think.
Yeah, this is good. I'm gonna have fun with that one. This is gonna be good. Will I be able to tell Toyota A apart from Toyota B and Toyota C? Like, I hope Toyota A all gold, Toyota B all silver jerseys, and then Toyota C all bronze jerseys.
That'll be good for
How do you
you.
decide? How do you decide in a company that big who's going to run your corporate DMR?
How do you decide in a company that big who's the A, B, and C team?
Yeah, that's what I have a lot of questions. We might need to bring on the winning team. Well, you're going to be doing interviews during this time. Can you
Yeah,
get
I
as
can get
much
an
info
interview.
as Okay, so you got 3 jobs here. Allison
Okay.
Felix, when is she retiring? I want to know everything about the corporate distance medley. And then the third thing was what was the third
Festus
thing? We
Legat.
talked about it.
Just talk to Festus
Festus Legat.
about your obsession of him in
Yeah.
the 2018 track and field season.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, hey, well, just say hi. If you
I'll
recognize
just
her.
say hi.
All right. I think that's it for this
That's
part of the
it.
preview. Again, we're gonna do more preview on Friday. Or sorry, yeah, Friday. Sorry, my days are confused. So Friday, we'll discuss what we saw on day 1, Thursday, but then really get into the events we didn't preview yet, which will be 4x1, 4x4, sprint medley, any of those individual events. Like there's collegiate hundreds and hurdles that we didn't talk about yet because the fields haven't been yet released yet as of this recording. Now, when you listen on Wednesday, they might already be out, but when we recorded this, they were not out, and we were traveling to PA during that time. So we'll do that on Friday and any other news. We'll also preview Peyton Jordan, which is coming up this weekend as well. Too. Anything else, Gordon, that we didn't get
That's
to?
it. That's it.
All right.
We are done. Like and subscribe.
Good. Yeah, like and subscribe. Thanks to Colt for producing. We will talk to you guys on Friday from Franklin Field or somewhere close to it.